Yo, what's going on, Colten Jessa? Thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of our show. And before we get into the amazing questions we have for you guys, can you let us know, what you do and how long you've been doing it? Also, what is your favorite drink?
I'm Jessa. This is Colton. We're a now married couple that do videography for weddings primarily, and we've been doing it for
Almost 10 years.
almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Been a
Yeah,
long time.
almost 10 years. It's been
Wow.
Nice.
wild.
Yeah. And we pretty much our entire relationship as a couple has been also predominantly doing weddings.
Yeah, we started when we were first started dating.
So
Um,
it's
but-
grown with us.
Yeah.
You want to know about our first drink, or our not our first drink, but our favorite drink first, right?
Favorite drink?
I
Mine's
mean,
Manhattan probably.
I'd say an old fashioned.
I like a Manhattan on the rocks.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, up is good too, but
This is my concoction of an
Yeah.
old fashioned.
What do we have right now?
Fashion.
Is that old fashioned?
It's a new fashion, I would say.
old-fashioned, but
New and old. I
You
love
guys
it.
are classy, loving the classy drinks. I love it.
we try.
We have our moments. Happy hour felt like a good moment.
Yeah,
Heck
To
yeah.
indulge into a nice libation.
yeah.
And as you know, we have a lot of followers of photographers and videographers. So I'm sure they're going to want to know, what gear are you using on a wedding day?
Yeah, so we typically use Sony. We use mostly FX3s. We have an FX30 as well for like side cameras and stuff like that. And then we really like Sony. We've been doing Sony for
Pretty much
years.
the entire time,
Yeah,
except for-
since the A7S.
The original camera was a Canon 60D.
Yeah, we
Oh, wow.
originally the Canon 60D was the first camera that we used, and so we started with Canon, and then we switched over to Sony.
No offense to Canon.
No offense to
Yeah.
Canon, really like Sony.
Yeah.
And so so we used FX3s and FX30s, and I think we use one one A7 III.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. So,
Yeah. I think there's an R3 in there, but we don't really use
yeah.
it.
There's a bunch of other equipment we use, but those are the camera stuff. That's the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. Sony Club over here. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Yeah.
that. All right, Jade.
Okay, so now that we've gotten gear, a good grasp on that, can you tell us your origin story? Like, how did you start Foxjump Cinematics?
There we go.
I mean, it predates me, not by long.
Yeah, no worries. So me and my buddy Trevor started the company a long time ago, and funny enough, Derek actually knows Trevor because he was in a short with us two that Derek directed, the Noteberry.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Adorable
Oh, yeah,
little
I've
short
seen that
back in
one.
college.
Film school.
Yep.
It's super fun. So him and I started the company. Our goal was to be primarily just commercial work and no weddings. We didn't have any intention on doing weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And we did one wedding, and it was really, really fun, but it was also really, 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 really stressful. And so we kind of decided we weren't going to do weddings. Well, fast forward a little bit, let's say a year later, a friend of ours that I worked with was like, hey, do you mind, I'd love, my friends are getting married. Do you want to film it? And I was like, absolutely not. Not in a million years. Nope, no way.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. But kudos to him. He convinced us to do it. And
That is Jeremy Worth.
Jeremy Worth
by the way.
photography was
There
the
you go.
friend. Yeah. And he was doing photography for it. And I didn't have, my buddy Trevor was doing something that day. So I asked Jessa, who we just started dating, I was like, hey, do you want to come film this with me? We're not getting paid anything for it. It's just a favor for a friend.
I said, I've never filmed anything in my life, so sure, if you want
Yeah.
to trust me with
But
that.
she had experience with photography.
Photography, yeah.
So I was like,
Photography.
yeah, I was
There
like,
you
it's
go.
kind of
Not videography.
it's like, it's kind of the same. You just can't shoot vertically, and you have to shoot everything horizontal, and you have to keep your shutter speed pretty much, fairly.
Don't go past one. Don't go underneath one.
Don't go underneath
Yeah.
one. Yeah, exactly. Or 50.
It was a
yeah.
challenge. It was a challenge.
So we went and did the wedding, and oh my God, we had so much fun. Like so much fun.
The couple made such a big
The
difference.
couple made such a big deal. It was so much fun. We were there for pretty much the whole day. Jeremy was really fun. We just had a blast. And so after that wedding, I came home and told my buddy, I was like, hey, dude, this was amazing. Like, we should revisit this wedding stuff and restructure the whole company to like do this stuff. And yeah, we could do commercial stuff too, but it'd be really fun to just like really drive the Foxjump brand to weddings. And then if we want to do commercial stuff on the side, we can do that too. And so that's what we did. And we ended up having such a blast. Unfortunately, he didn't love doing weddings. He still didn't enjoy doing weddings. And there's reasons why, but the gist of it was he didn't like it. And so he was thinking about getting out. And I was like, you know what, let me buy it off of you, the company. So I bought him out of his portion of the company because at that point we were incorporated. And I told Jessa, I was like, can you just shoot these weddings with me? And because we had so much fun the first time, let's do it. And so that's sort of how it all came to be. And we've been doing it ever since. Yeah.
Oh my
I love it.
gosh.
Could we say that with Jessa jumping in and helping out Colten, blossomed the relationship even further? You guys were like, wow,
because you were just friends when you asked her to join, right?
No, we were dating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were totally dating.
It's pretty new though.
It was really new. I think we had only been dating for like maybe a half a year, like 6 months or so. And I was like, let's just go have fun doing this. So when after that wedding, there was probably maybe a year between where she actually started doing it full time with me, because me and my buddy Trevor were doing it.
Oh yeah.
And then, I remember how much fun we had. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. You feel free to jump in.
Well, that's your portion before I really jumped into
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So then when I asked her if she wanted to do the weddings with me,
I said, yeah, sure. That sounds like fun. Let's spend time together.
Oh,
it was awesome. I will say it was interesting, like blossoming a relationship, but also learning to work together at the same time.
That's a tough challenge. I mean, you two can relate to that.
No, for sure. When I first started out, Jade helped me out too. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
She did video.
I did.
I totally believe it. I absolutely believe it.
And it's not easy, right? To be told what to do or like how to film things.
Oh God.
Oh, I needed all the direction that he could give me. Yeah. So
That is crazy. That is so funny.
I was curious, what inspired the name Foxjump Cinematics?
So that's kind of why Trevor really is brought up. It's really Trevor that created that name. Trevor's a very artistic writer, and he funny enough, he was on the spur of the moment and he had to come up with the name. And so just like in the movies, when you go, and you see two words and you just mix them together, you just said Fox and jump and smash them together.
I saw someone asked him what the name of the company was, and he happened to see like on the TV or something, I can't remember exactly, like a jumping fox. He's like, oh, we're Foxjump. And then the cinematics part came later. But it was a very like spur of the moment, like word association, object association, put them together, and that's what it was.
Yeah, but now we attribute it to my hair, so.
Yeah, her hair's the color of a fox.
Foxy.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. That's a nice takeaway right there. I love it. All right, so for the initial, I want to get into clients and the initial contact and like the consultation, because I've heard that you guys know how to work the magic when it comes to connecting with couples. Okay. So what steps do you take during the initial consultation to understand the couple's vision for their wedding film?
I know I've been talking a lot, but I tend to do most of that. So I'm gonna take over if that's all right.
It's fine with me.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's okay. I honestly, we're very big on story as it is. And so the first thing that I always do is ask them what their story is, how they met, their first date, I ask them, you know, I just kind of let them talk. I always start the conversation saying like, you know, I want to get to know you guys. So as much as you're willing to share with me on initial consultation, please feel free to share. And I always like to ask them, I don't ever go in with like pre-planned questions of what I ask them on the phone or in person. I just kind of let them talk and I ask questions based off of whatever they're saying. And I really get to know them as people as much as I possibly can so that when we actually start talking about the wedding, I fully understand what it is they're trying to convey, especially when it comes to getting video coverage of that.
It's mainly because I mean, what drives us to video specifically is how much it's story driven. We're so much about the couple's origins. You know, every aspect of a wedding day is reminiscent of who they are, but we're supposed to be telling the actual story. And even though there's a lot of similarities with a lot of weddings and, you know, their bare bones, the logistics of a wedding day, the story of how they are and how they relate, every single one is different. And so we're really driven on knowing that and expressing that as much as we can. So the more we can know who they are, we know that we're the right fit for them. And we just really love a good love story. So we're suckers.
Well, and I always say that we love just a good story in general. You always like to say we love a good love story. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. No, totally. But I love stories just in general. I've always loved stories. And so with our couples, like Jessa was saying, yeah, a lot of them are very similar. You know, you're always gonna have like the getting ready stuff, the ceremony stuff, the reception stuff, the end of the night fun dancing stuff. But what makes each couple different is they're like them, you know, what, because no two couples, like no other couple is Jessa and Colten. No other couple is Jade and Derek. No other couple is Sarah and Jim. You know, no other. Yeah.
How you formed your relationship, the obstacles you guys have come across, and what has culminated here, you know, family driven, non-family driven, friends, all of those are dynamics that create who you are and how you're structured. So
is that all? Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna say, so how that all ties at the initial consult is I try to get as much of that information as possible about them so that they know that they're not just another client of ours.
Yeah.
We really care.
Someone important that we truly care about. We truly care about telling their story versus just another paycheck or something.
I mean, photo and video are with the couple the entire day. It makes a big difference if you actually have a really good affinity with that person. You have a good time. You have fun. By the time that we get to the wedding day, we're usually already laughing and joking with the couple. We already have inside jokes. We already know certain little subtleties about their dynamics that, like, you know, if a bride or groom has lost somebody, we know that a hummingbird is really important. So we're already looking to see if we possibly could get one. You know, that's a small moment, but it's really impactful for them. So there are certain aspects that we do. We do the phone call, and then we stay in contact throughout their process, offering what we can if they need to, any insights we have about building the timeline if need be. We obviously don't want to push too much, but I think the big thing is we do a pretty lengthy questionnaire, and then we do a Zoom call right before, kind of like this, where we get to know the couple. They don't really have a lot of time, so we don't want to take them away from that. If they can, we'd love to have a coffee, and we've done that before, kind of like a little mini date, but it's mainly just to get to know one another and ask some kind of personal questions, but also like important ones. So.
I realize that's way more than you asked for.
No, it's beautiful though.
It all ties into the beginning story stages.
Yeah.
Well, you asked our process, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the beginning process. I'm sorry. Well, yeah.
Hey, no, this is perfect because there's so much you could take away from that answer that you provided. Like any vendor, no matter what in service they're in, could learn from that. You know, you learn the couple like on a personal level. You get to know them. I like how you go into your meetings without anything planned. So the conversation comes out natural and like organic.
Yeah.
Like you're actually listening and hearing them.
Oh, we're listening.
Well, and
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't always work. I mean, I had a call not too long ago where we didn't click at all. Me and the bride just didn't click at all. And like my normal going into it unplanned, like normally that works. I want to say 95% of the time, 96.7% of the time, it totally works out really well because organic conversation happens. But sometimes, every now and again, it doesn't. So as much as I would say, like, yeah, it's definitely the way to go, I wouldn't say it always works, because you might come across a couple that you just don't jive with very well.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that didn't work out. It wasn't bad or anything. It just, we didn't click like I normally do with clients.
I think some of it is that while we are pretty important to the whole wedding industry in itself, we're still pretty new compared to a lot of others. I mean, photo is always going to be a staple. Video is not always a staple. So I think guests and couples and just the community in itself is slowly understanding that it's not just a video. It's not kind of like, oh, I'm just getting another thing to keep the thing. It's quite important to capture memories that you'll never have again, especially with loved ones that you lose. So
yeah.
I think some people don't really look at it that way, and then that kind of is the disconnect a lot of times, or they're too busy. Wedding planning is really tough. You guys all know.
Oh yeah, this one knows firsthand over here, Jade. But
there's a whole job for it.
I wanted to get back to what Colten was saying, is that if the client doesn't vibe with you, that doesn't say that you as the vendor just was weird. It's just, that person might have a weird personality, or you guys just don't click.
Wasn't a match.
Wasn't a match.
All different types.
Totally. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that like the person had a weird personality, because they absolutely didn't have a weird personality. It's just that I don't feel like our personalities quite click. And like, I feel like I'm pretty good at clicking with most people, but every now and again it doesn't. And it was a kind of an interesting eye opener, where it's like, yeah, the going into it without any kind of plan usually works, but not all the time.
Do you have like your plan B?
I do have like staples that I tend to stick to. Like there's definitely some stuff that I wouldn't say that's like cookie cutter stuff, but it's definitely like, if I can feel like a conversation is going one way, I can usually steer it a certain way. But I really, like I said, I really try to keep it as organic as possible, because for me, I mean, without going into too much detail, I tend to get bored really easily with my work, and I love my job. And if I don't keep it interesting pretty much every single time, I tend to get bored. And so I really, really try to, that's one reason why I don't tend to do like the cookie cutter wedding film. I don't typically do like there's a lot of companies that do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Getting a video is I feel like it's super, super important. And the companies that can provide that service for people that just want a video, it is super invaluable. I wouldn't dog on it in any way. But for me, that kind of work tends to get stale for me, and it tends to become monotonous, and it tends to have me not enjoy my job as much. So when I approach a couple with the natural conversation, the organic nature of the conversation flow, and how I'm learning about them and their story and how they met and all that stuff, makes it interesting for me in the editing process. So it's more about what that helps me on the back end. I mean, during the process, of course, but definitely the back end helps me a ton. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, I love that you take the time to like get invested in their story and really like hold on to those details and just splash it into their video. That's
totally
really cool.
Yeah, that's big. And I want to get back into what Jessa was saying, that the clients, I mean, I still can't believe that even nowadays, with technology and social media and video and all this, it still finds like the clients can't grasp how important videography is for a wedding. So wanted to ask, like, what steps do you take to ensure that the couple feels confident and excited about booking Foxjump Cinematics for their wedding?
You take that, or you want to take
Yeah, go for it.
I for us personally, I wouldn't say for everyone, but I mean the big defining factor for photo versus video, obviously because it's moving, but it's audio. And audio is a big value to everyone every day. I mean, right here, this would be a completely different conversation if the audio wasn't very good. But it's a preservation of the video visuals, preservation of the day, preservation of their youth, their moment, but it's also preservation of sound and voices and memories and things such as vows that I think all of our couples will say, I don't remember what I said on my wedding day. And that's the number one thing that they always want is vows to preserve and to hear for themselves. I mean, we've even done it where we've listened to our vows and was like, I was in the moment, but I'm also remembering so many extra things that I didn't
totally
grasp.
It's nerve-wracking to be up there saying vows, man. Like it's like, especially if you don't like talking in front of people. Like, and I don't mind talking in front of people, but it still is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And some people are a little bit more scripted, some people a little more for the heart, but I feel like no matter what, there's a little bit of, you're grasping all of these things. You don't always take in every single word. So to have that preserved is what's the right word? It's
I mean,
it's priceless.
Yeah.
It's priceless.
Yeah, priceless.
And I'll just kind of add to that if that's all right. Like, yeah, you could say theoretically you have your vows written down, so a couple could be like, well, I've got my vows written down. What do I need a video for? It's like, yeah, but you're not going to remember the inflection that you said a line. You're not going to remember what exactly made you choke up during a certain moment. You're not going to remember, like, maybe you planned to say a sentence a certain way, but the way that she looked at you or he looked at you just made you lose your shit. And like, sorry, I don't know if I can say that on the podcast.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Your best friend that's standing right behind you and you can't see it is fully sobbing behind you.
Yeah.
Or your mom who's sitting in the front row is just like breaking down.
Totally. And as you get older, as people get older, their memories start to fade. And having that, like, pictures are invaluable. I love photography. I think it's phenomenal. But I started with photography and I love photography, but I switched over to video a long, long time ago because I love video. I love what it captures. I love the emotion that it captures. I love the story that it captures. I love that you can hear it. You can't really hear a picture, which... Again, nothing wrong with photo.
When your memory fades.
But yeah, as that memory fades, you have a video to show. Sorry, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. Like,
no, I love it.
The family videos that like your parents' have back when camcorders were first coming out. And yeah, they're not put together wedding videos or anything like that. But the fact that you can go back and watch those and like remember those moments is priceless. Wild to me. It's like a digital
like time
capsule.
Time capsule. Thank you. Yeah. Digital time capsule. Yeah. Wow. I'm sure someone's thought of that.
I'm sure. Don't coin it.
Anyway, sorry.
But I mean, so we don't really, I would say we don't have like a shtick. I just think that people can understand our passion with what makes video. And that's just a little bit of inkling of what the whole thing is, because all of our couples will come back and be like, I don't just see my wedding day when I watch your films. I feel it. I feel it again and again and again. And we get notices when we see
when people watch our
videos. And we had a bride that every single night she was watching her video, and we didn't 100% confirm this, but I'm really pretty positive that her kids that were there at the wedding day, they ask to watch it every single night because we've
Aw.
also them at that youth that one day they're going to be able to see it as an adult and say that I was there at my mom and dad's wedding and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it's pretty priceless.
And I sorry if I'm talking too much. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten random phone calls from. I got a phone call from a groom, I want to say a year ago, where he lives in Arizona now. He was just putting his kids to bed and he was going to take a nap, and he just decided to watch his wedding video, but he didn't have the link, so he just looked it up online on Vimeo, and it popped up. And so he watched it and he called me. He's literally tearing up. He's like, dude, I just wanted to call and let you know that what you did for us, I can't even begin to give the full appreciation, because I'm sitting here. He told me what he was doing. He's like, I was just going to take a nap, and now I'm bawling, and my wife's at work. My kids are in bed, but I'm sitting here crying like a baby in my bed, about ready to take a nap, and I'm calling you instead. And like literally just yesterday, a good friend of ours who we did their wedding for, him and his wife are about to have a baby, and they just watched their wedding video last night. And he's like, dude, I just want you to know we watched the video again, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate what you preserved for us, and we love you guys so much. And I was just like, dude, this is awesome. So
to answer why we do it, it's for that.
Yeah. Going back to what helping our clients realize this, what you already said it is like our genuine attitudes about why we do it, I think helps tell clients how important it is.
Yes, the raw emotion, like that just is vibrating off of you. I don't know the
The
right
passion.
We're very
quite
emotional.
passionate.
It's very contagious.
I don't know if it's the passion or it's the old fashions. What
It's maybe
A
both.
little bit of both.
A little bit of
kidding.
both. Why can't both things be true?
We squeeze a little passion into our drinks today.
I love it. I wanted to go back to, I like what Jess was saying, that a photograph, it can't speak to you. And if you showed your wedding photograph to a stranger, they're not going to sense that emotion from it. But if you show that stranger your wedding film, they get the sense of the whole day, which is really cool that you mentioned that. I like that. Yeah. So I wanted to get into some like, I guess if you guys have like if a client has a different mindset on how they want something filmed from you guys. So in that situation, how do you handle situations where the couple has a different idea or style in mind, and do you merge those two together?
Do you answer?
Sure. Yeah.
There's a couple of answers for that, because it depends on when the question is asked in the first place. If it's pretty early on, we usually just give our opinions professionally from the millions of weddings we've seen and what's worked and what hasn't worked, because we never want to say no. Everybody should.
Can I interrupt? One thing that we do have in our contract, like there's literally verbiage that states like, we have a particular style. You recognize that you're hiring us for our style. When you sign a contract, we're under the assumption you've seen our work, our work, you're hiring us because our work. And so to be honest, we don't really get that a lot where clients have a different viewpoint. It has happened before.
A couple of times where somebody's asked us to be a completely different videographer. Like, I want their style. We're like, well, that's not who we are. So we recommend you hiring them.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to hire Jessa and Colten, you're going to hire Foxjump. You're going to hire how we style things.
Yeah.
We can't ever, there's just no guarantee. And that's not really fair for their expectations to ever think we're going to film another way. An eye is different. Everybody's eye is different. That's not going to work.
And that's not to say that we don't take inspiration if a client comes to us with inspiration that they want to film. Like what you're specifically the situation. One time we had a client that, well, she wasn't a client yet, but she wanted to book us. And she literally said, I want you guys to film like this videographer. And we're like, with all due respect, you should hire that videographer, not us, because they're them, but we have had clients that are like, I really like this person, I really like this person, I love you guys too. Is there any way we can kind of incorporate some of that stuff? And I'm happy to entertain the idea of doing something fun and unique and something
Within reason.
yeah, within reason. Yeah. And that kind of goes into another thing that I'm happy to talk about later. But anyway, sorry.
So it just comes down to, is it, I think perfect example is a lot of people, not really us, right when we started it happened to quite a bit, but I bet you've probably gotten it too, Derek, is people want the Office documentary style.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, it's so funny, and I would love to have a film like that, but what I think is funny in real life and how funny I think I am is not actually funny. And so when to like put a whole bunch of people that aren't funny, they're just normal people, and put them in a wedding day, you're not going to get the humor.
No,
It's all
no way.
Yeah.
Everything is planned out. If they ever look at it behind the scenes, like there's ad lib, of course, but you're also getting actors that are comedians that have amazing talent, or that
Professionals.
couples in the wedding day are not going to get that.
No.
And so I think that's a perfect example. If people suggest that idea, we'll say, hey, this is just, we're going to open up that opportunity to maybe have a talking heads, or, if there's something funny, we're going to capture that. We're going to emphasize that for sure. If you like parties, and we get the vibe that you're a party kind of couple, we're going to vibe into that. We're going to move into that more. If you're more of a sentimental couple, we're going to, move into more sentimental things. We're obviously going to go towards where they want, but we're also going to be like, hey, that's just not how it works in real life. I've seen one videographer, and I don't remember his name right now. He actually did a really good job, but I don't know how much actually was the couple actually enjoying their day and how much they had to force themselves to.
Yeah, that'd be awkward.
Yeah, a little bit.
Awkward.
And so
I think like kind of circling what you're saying is like, we always like to walk them through what's possible and what's not necessarily possible.
What's reality?
Yeah, exactly. And there are some things that a lot of times brides will have in their head an idea of what might look really, really cool. And it very well might, but then maybe we've tried it before and we're like, we've tried this, it doesn't really look that great. I'm just
right. Lighting is a huge thing. Getting ready rooms are most of the time, exactly what I'm talking about. Orange light.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Orange light. And
not the most flattering.
It's not flattering. And there's always an orange light with a daylight. And it's worst. It's just looks so bad on camera. And so you couples, they'll kind of set up certain things in the room. They're like, I just really like this visual. And I'm like, I love your vision. I love it. I'm going to move it over here because I want to capture that in the best lighting possible, because you're trusting my professionalism, that I know what's going to look good on camera. And if you trust me, then obviously you're going to be okay with the fact that this is going to look better, but I'm still encapsulating your vision, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good example. I mean, another good example is the wedding we worked together with. Jade is our sweet, I don't want to say their names, but our sweet couple that lanterns were really important to them. It was actually one of their first dates, or was it the proposal?
I think it was the proposal.
It was the proposal, and they sent it up.
Oh.
Yeah, they sent up a lantern, and so we thought it'd be really cool to do it at the wedding. But then we did a test.
It was more
our
idea, so that was kind of it was a backfire. But there's so many factors into something that you want to vision for your day, and everybody wants to be creative, and everybody wants to have something sentimental. But there are things that people don't realize, candles or not fireworks, but confetti or bubbles. Or so many things that, like, certain venues, like, they just can't have it for liability reasons, and so couples have this beautiful vision, and you're like, I'm so sorry to break this to you, but we just can't do it at this venue. Drone work,
didn't we get special permission to do it like in a certain area without telling anybody else?
And then it rained.
Yeah, but then the main reason that we did it The main reason we didn't do it at that wedding though was because we tested
we
the
tested
lantern
it.
and we almost put my mom's house on fire.
No.
Oh my God.
No, I just mean like
Really?
it started to get away from us because the thing caught fire super easy. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable lighting this thing at a venue.
Yeah, fire's
When
scary.
it's
Yeah.
originally banned,
You know,
yeah.
You don't want to be the person that just, and that had a tent there and it was raining, which there was those additional factors, but we just did not feel like it was safe enough for us to put the traditional lantern up because it's heat that lifts it up. So
Yeah,
And I love that you tested it ahead of time too.
Yeah. totally tested.
Yeah, that's
Always
good.
tested. Yeah.
But
So, kind of speaking of which, I know that, you have so many different ideas that are out of the box like this, probably to help complete the story. How do you set realistic expectations with them within the timeline and making sure that these special moments are accounted for? Do
Good
you
question.
work with the planner?
Oh
on
yeah.
that?
all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've had couples that actually in our questionnaire we've asked, is there special ceremonial tributes that you're doing during the wedding, or there's something that you're doing getting ready. A lot of people, it's private vows or letters or first looks, because not only just with dad but bridesmaids, mom. I think we had one with like a cousin or something. No, he was military, that's
Yeah.
right. But it hasn't always been the case that they've actually let their planner know. And so we're actually big on, if you're doing any of these things that is time accounted for, the planner has to know.
Yeah.
You might not be there for it. We're going to facilitate it and make sure that everything's smooth. But she needs to know so that she can game plan. She needs to know where you are at all times. Even if she's not there, she's know that's where your process is at. So we're huge advocates for planners. Honestly, we don't recommend weddings without planners. That's just our personal opinion, but
like the way that we go about that though, if this helps, typically we do a lot of collaboration. I'm sorry, not collaboration, correspondence. That's what we do. Collaboration too, but correspondence is the word I'm looking for. We do a lot of correspondence with the couple beforehand. So I'll typically reach out 3 months before the wedding and I'll say, check in and be like, hey, how's everything going? I just want to check in. If you guys have a temporary or preliminary timeline, just so we can take a look at it, give a video perspective. We definitely don't want to step on the toes of the planner, but we would love to offer any kind of feedback that we can from our perspective.
We ask if you've thought about doing private vows or love letters, anything, because that does factor in time.
Yeah.
And so then usually 3 months in, they don't have anything. It's usually just a touch base email. And then 1 month I'll reach out again, same kind of email, just be like, hey, we're about a month out. Just want to reach out and see kind of where we're at with the timeline. If you guys have anything, we'd love to take a look at it. And if they do have something, we'll often take a look at the timeline, see if there's any discrepancies with what we're doing, with what we've talked about with them. Like Jessa said, we do a lot of we don't do a lot of questionnaires, but we do a pretty
We just do one
decent questionnaire that goes into all the little details that they have. If they're doing like certain events at the ceremony, if they plan, what religion are they getting married in? And sometimes they might think that the ceremony is only going to be 20 minutes, but depending on what religion they're in, not just Catholicism, but some other religions, their ceremonies are like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And we've seen that before where they thought the ceremony was only going to be 20 minutes and it ended up being like 55 minutes. So just talking to them about, okay, just making sure you guys are good on time. I always reach out to reach out to DJs, photographers, and planners, especially if I haven't worked with them beforehand, just to touch base, say hi, see if there's anything I could do for them, see if there's any weird things in the timeline that we notice that they're not aware of. More often than not, we find that a planner doesn't necessarily know about, like Jessa was saying, like a first look or a special kind of first look that's not necessarily in the timeline.
Yeah.
And so we always just try to collaborate with the planners. Yeah. So we always try to make sure that everything's good. And then one thing I'll always say is like, hey, just when you think you have enough time for a thing, maybe just add on like couple more minutes or like 5 minutes.
Buffer's always nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, buffer.
Buffers for sure.
I think also it's collaborating with photographers, because more and more photographers are used to videographers, but we still come across a couple of photographers that really, it's few and far between that they work with videographers, or they have never worked with a videographer, or they've had a bad experience with a videographer. And a lot of times their timeline, we're always also looking at theirs and the planners and making sure those are correlating, and also saying, hey, just so you know, for video purposes, for like a private vow, we really want to make sure we've gotten their audio. It does take a little more time to make sure we get their audio. We want them to read it. We want them to have the emotion. And then afterwards, we want them to read it out so we get a clear voice. So it does take a little additional time for that.
So are you letting the planner know this and the client know all this stuff too? Like, hey, audio, we need this much time set aside just to get it ready.
Yes, but not in a way that's going to stress them out. So a lot of times what I'll do, like we like to use examples, as you probably gathered. We had a wedding where they were doing private vows, and I said, that's totally awesome. I just want to make sure that we all know that we're going to want to make sure we do this in a place that we can have good audio, you know. And if we say it in a way that kind of like prefaces like, hey, we're going to want to make sure that this is sounding awesome, then usually couples are really good about that, and they're like, yeah, I want it to sound awesome too. And you know, photographers are like, yeah, I'm totally down, like, I just want to make sure it's in a good spot. I'm like, totally, as long as it sounds good too, then we're down for that. And so, and if the planner knows, like, hey, we're making sure that it's going to be in a spot, you know, then it just helps them to know that something might take a little bit longer, but not too much longer.
Yeah.
Definitely don't like to take a lot of time. We're really, really freaking fast, but it's always good to like let people know.
For sure.
It's not really that common, but it's just mainly if we see like a big glaring issue. Most of the time, most planners are really, really good. Jade, you're very good about making sure there's enough time. It's only if like it's mainly when it's logistics of a lot of locations. We had one where the couple was getting married in Pismo Beach, but they got ready at their venue.
Yeah.
Drove down to Pismo Beach. We had the ceremony, and then we were driving back. But the location of the venue, it's pretty close to a road, and then all the guests are coming at the same time. There's not a lot of private areas where you're not going to hear people laughing and talking, or cars driving by, or ambulances randomly. There's always an ambulance, or planes. So we coordinated with the photographer, coordinated with the planner, and we said, hey, we recommend going back to where, on the same venue, but back to where they got ready.
It was White Barn. It was
back where they got ready. It's quiet over there, and then they had their venue in the background. We just needed a little extra time to do that, and then got back, and it was really beautiful because it was intimate. And then the planner knew where we were. She's not freaking out because where's my bride and groom?
Yeah.
So
it's nothing that's going to stress anybody out or anything, but we always like to just, if we foresee something might, you know, get the ball rolling a little slower, then sometimes we'll always try to make sure that we're being communicative.
I so appreciate that you even take the time to do this and think through all the logistics. It's like you're thinking like a planner. You're like creating the stories ahead of time and the scenes, and also making sure everybody's in the know. Like that's incredible.
We just want to be part of the team.
And for the videographers that are listening, the key point here is to have a voice. Let the planner know, let the couple know that you do need the time for your audio and whatever setting you need to get that perfect, whatever it is you need. That was a huge takeaway.
Really good statement. Yeah.
Have a voice, man.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to get into editing and storytelling.
Right.
All right, Jade, take it away.
Might have touched on this a little bit throughout because like it's what you do, but how do you approach storytelling in your films, and like what elements are essential to creating a compelling narrative?
I mean, he's the editor.
Yeah, no worries. The thing that I always do first and foremost, and it probably is the reason why I am not a fast editor. I am slow as dirt. I wouldn't say I'm slow as dirt. I shouldn't say that. That's a really bad thing to say.
You take your time.
I take my time, and like what the reason that I'm slow is because I literally go through every single frame that was captured the day of the wedding. I go through every single word that was said the day of the wedding, and I cull through every single like ounce of coverage or content that we have.
Which at minimum is 6 hours, and at maximum has been 24 hours so far.
Well,
24 hours.
For audio.
not 24
It was multiple
hours.
days.
It was
so.
I wouldn't say multiple days. It was multiple days, but not
So
24
accumulation.
hours.
No, we did the
24 hours?
Yeah, when I was-
You edited a film in 24 hours.
No, the audio.
No,
like,
No, that was
he has to
raw
go-
footage. That was like multiple
Yeah,
cameras.
but that's how many hours that accumulated.
Mm.
Okay, roughly.
Okay, agreed. Anyway, no worries. So lots of footage. Let's just throw it that way. I go through everything, and usually what I do is I separate it out by, I separate it out by different categories that give me what I'm going to need. So a lot, like for example, I might do a category that's like story related, about like how they met. I might do parts that are how the proposal happened, how their family met, the couples, the significant others. I might have a category that's like really fun moments that don't necessarily add to the story, but might be a really cool part of like a drop in the video. So like an example, if someone random is like, let's get this party started, that little clip can be put somewhere fun when the music drops to like emphasize the epicness of a moment,
For sure.
Yeah. So I usually try to separate everything out and keep track of what things happen. And then after I'm all done culling everything, separating it, then I've got a gist of the story that I want to tell. And then what I'll do is I'll go through, I'll pick music, and I don't ever pick music like I think I'm going to make a music video. I pick music like I think I'm going to make like a mini documentary. So I always pick music as if, okay, if I didn't need the music to make a good story, what kind of music would I choose? I know that sounds weird, but I usually like to choose music that kind of is like, it doesn't necessarily drive the story. It just enhances the story. A lot of people think music drives the story, and I think it absolutely helps, but it's not it's the words and the interactions with people's drive the story.
Yeah, it enhances the emotion.
It enhances the emotion, exactly. So then I'll pick the music, and then I just start building. And the thing that I tend to do more so is the last thing I do is lay any imagery. So everything's all audio and building the story from audio first, and then imagery, all the imagery goes on second.
And that audio is coming from, if we've been hired for interviews, we've been hired for like little like moments where they're filming before, kind of like an engagement shoot, rehearsal footage, if people want us for rehearsal footage, day of, if the couples are doing private vows or talking during when they're getting ready, or love letters, capturing whatever we can get from family or friends, sometimes talking heads. I don't know if anybody knows what that reference is. It just basically, it's like a little interview. If we can capture that from people, it's also vows, the officiant, it's toasts, and it's just really any and all audio we can possibly grasp. And we're pulling all of that to formulate that one timeline story.
And then kind of the last thing that I'll approach for story is making sure that the story that I'm telling has hills and valleys, and has like moments of elation, moments of triumph could be a thing, like just like moments of elation, moments of contemplation, moments of like if there are sad things in the wedding that happen, like A lot of times we have couples whose family members have passed away, and making sure that we're honoring those members who have passed away in a sentimental way throughout or in the video.
Or a groom that went from a huge accident where he can't walk anymore to walking again.
Totally. So, and it's really like you want to make sure that you're giving those moments their due, and you can't very well put, like, if you just made the whole video fun and party time, you can't really put the stuff about the parent passing away or the groom who's overcome a significant accident in their life to get to this wedding in a fun, all the time fun video. So you got to have moments that like are really high, and then moments that are low, and moments that are high, and moments that are low, because a good story has both of those. A good story has contrasting elements that complement each other.
And we're not seeking those things out. It's because that's all of that has culminated to their love story.
Yeah.
All of that shaped them and who they've lost and who they've loved.
Yeah.
So we're always just listening as much as we can to make sure that we're being true to their story, not just having a party, because the party is the fun part. We fully get it. It's the celebration of this day, but what brought us to this day?
Yeah. And then like I always say whenever I'm talking, and this is actually kind of goes back to what we were talking about, what are some of the things that you say to your clients when you're first talking to them? I always tell them, like, we're not going to create a Foxjump Cinematics film. We're going to create, you know, a Derek and Jade film, or a Jim and Samantha film, or random names that I'm
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet. You know, so like we might get in there and their wedding film might be like fun, just like nonstop action the whole time, because they didn't have any moments of contemplation or any somber moments. It was all just like go the whole time. That's the film that they're going to get. If there were a couple that, like, we had a couple that wanted full on party video one time, like just they wanted nonstop party, but there was a lot of really sentimental stuff. And I was like, there's no way to put this in a nonstop party video. You gotta have a little bit of both. And so we made a little bit of both. And they were so happy. And they were so happy with it. So you have to approach this. I never know what kind of story we're going to create until after the wedding's over. And once we get into the editing room and I've listened to everything, then I can be like, okay, this is the story that we want to tell. And you know, that's what ends up happening.
And that's probably why we don't really ask formulated questions, because we don't.
Yeah, we like to ask those organic questions, because it turns the story into something that we have no idea what it's going to look like until we deliver it to them, you know. So again, long-winded.
What, like an art form? Like,
Thanks.
my goodness, there's so much that goes into that.
Yeah, that's interesting. When it comes to editing and filming, to the clients that are listening, just let your vendors do their magic. I remember I had one time a client told me, I want a music video. I want no audio. And I said, are you sure? And I gave them all kinds of reasons. I said, would you go to a movie theater and just watch a music video with no audio, nothing? And they said no, but they're like, we just want a music video. So I created it. They wanted audio. They wanted the voices. I was like, oh my, I told you guys, what the heck? Big time. Big time. So I want to get into now techniques on filming in a wedding day that creates storytelling. So how do you balance capturing candid moments with orchestrating scenes to enhance the storytelling of the wedding film?
Good question.
That is a good question. I think first and foremost, I always tell our clients that I rarely do setup shots. I rarely, what I will try to do is we'll pose our clients or set up situations where organic moments can happen, because I don't love setup, pose, stage stuff.
For video, it's a lot harder because it's stiff. You can see it. You can see it on their bodies when you're trying to film it.
Totally.
If they're like this.
So, and one thing that we do quite often that I feel like we work really well with photographers with this is we can take a pose that they have and turn it into a video pose based off of before you break them up, I'm going to have them do a fun thing that's, they're sort of in that pose and they're sort of posed, but it's really like the organic thing that we want from it. We don't necessarily want the pose shot. And that's not to say that we won't do a pose shot. Sometimes we get these really cool ideas where we're like, oh my gosh, we got to try this thing, you know. But I think the balance comes from
The couple.
it comes from the couple.
feeling
Yeah.
Mm.
Couple are. If they don't really feel very confident and they're very uncomfortable with it, we're not going to push them to be very like open and
Yeah.
extremely outgoing and vibrant. That's just not who, again, it's not representation of who they are.
Yeah.
If we push them to be overly dramatic and they're more shy and sentimental, we're going to feel that and go and, you know, encourage moments, subtle moments, you know, a little eye look or a smirk or a whisper in the ear because it's more organic to who they are.
And I wish I could take credit for this, but it's not at all. We totally learned this from a Ray Roman workshop one time. We went to it and he was like, if you don't have any poses to have them, just have them look at each other. Most of the time they'll take care of the rest. And holy crap, that works.
You almost want them to forget you're there a little bit. Yeah.
Totally. So we always tell our clients, like, hey, if we're not telling you guys to do something, if the photographer is not telling you guys to do something, I just want you to look at each other. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure you're looking at each other. You can kiss, you can laugh, you can cry, you can do anything. I just want when we're not telling you what to do, just look at each other and enjoy each other. Yeah. I think that helps.
And that mostly goes to, say, sunset, very designated media heavy moments.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, we're always looking. I would say that we have a pretty good sense of things. You know, you the dad that's like, I'm not gonna cry, everything, and you're like, you're gonna be.
Oh, we can totally.
I know it. I know you're gonna cry, and you're kind of
cry.
watching them and waiting for that moment. A lot of it's facilitating the right location in certain things. We like to really, especially in the beginning of the day, it's like, Jade, you know, Derek, you know, it's probably the most stressful part of the day because there's so much going on. There's so much anticipation before the ceremony. Everybody's asking questions, even though you've told them a million times, don't bother the bride. They're asking the bride. And she's just trying to like stay calm and not worry about anything that's going, you know, not her way, or just maybe doesn't really like the attention focused on her. And so you're just trying to create a very calming environment so that she can feel vulnerable and enjoying the moment and have joy and, you know, see her mom and see her dad and embrace the dress and the moment and kind of facilitating certain aspects that they've tried to be specific. We had a couple that the bride, her daughter wasn't the groom's biological daughter, so they really it was important for them to give him adoption papers. And they didn't tell the groom. So basically they just kind of asked our advice and the photographer's advice, and we collaborated, and the planner, and just said, hey, I think this would be a really good moment right after the first look. What do you say about that? And she was like, I love it. And so we made sure we had all of the items and everything ready to go, and we just let them kind of flow in the moment. And when the bride turned, we had the paper ready, we handed it to her, and they kept going with the moment. So they're not worrying about us filming them. They're just having that moment in their day. So as much as we can, that's kind of how we guide things. We're just about, you know, kind of eliminating the obstacles to allow that to flow through and them to just have the best day ever.
And I think from a technical standpoint, for us, this helps. We do a combination of shooting handheld and gimbal work, and that helps a ton. Being able to like switch back and forth pretty fairly easily to be able to get those staged like gimbal shots and those candid handheld shots. And it's been a game changer. I feel like it's made our films like way better.
We're not full handheld, we're not full gimbal. There's just like a good movie, and what we like to, part of our name is cinematics. There's certain reasons why certain shots are utilized. Handheld is utilized. Think Cloverfield. There's a lot of energy.
Don't think Cloverfield. We're not doing Cloverfield. No.
Super wild.
Like it's raw. It feels like this. I'm experiencing this in the moment, and then the cinematic, dramatic ones are like overly romantic. I'm in a rom-com. I'm like, I want to be that person in that sweeping hill getting kissed. So there's you know, we try to utilize that to aspect.
Yeah.
Not Cloverfield, sorry. That's the first.
Just crazy wild filming. Ah!
It's like,
Amelie.
no.
Amelie. I don't know if anybody's seen Amelie.
No, I don't think I've seen that movie
It's
yet.
a French film. It's really cute. Anyway,
It's really cute.
yeah.
We'll check
I'll
it
have to
out.
see it.
But I like
Watch
the simple setup that you guys mentioned that from Ray Roman was just to have the couple look at each other. And
Yeah.
when you guys aren't doing something, because something magical will spark out of it.
Totally.
I like that. That's sometimes I always tell the couples too, when like they kiss, they do a kiss when I take a photo or whatever. It's the after the kiss. It's when they look at each other and they're smiling,
Totally.
and I'm like, that's what I want. It's just comes naturally to them. It comes naturally to them.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
it. I love
Totally
it.
agree.
100%. That's
So-
it's through them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to ask, what are your hobbies and interests? Like what hobbies and interests do you pursue outside of filmmaking that fuels your creativity?
We're big nerds.
Big nerds.
Yeah. How
Such
so?
nerd.
We love Star Wars and
Love
and
Star
Jurassic
Wars.
Park and Harry
Harry Potter.
Love movies. So
Love
I'd say
movies.
we're big nerds on going to see films.
I read a lot. Like a lot.
I read.
Oh wow.
No, we both read. I'm just saying, like I'm talking about.
Time.
No, yeah, I read a lot. Like we're just huge. I literally bought a pair of Harry Potter shoes the other day because that's how.
Yeah.
Harry Potter shoes.
Yeah,
Yep,
Harry Potter
Harry Potter
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah, we're big nerds. We like nerd stuff.
We like, so I would say movies are a big thing for us. It's not necessarily a hobby, but like we'll have big conversations about what made that film great or
Yeah.
what
the character
cool.
development of a
oh, that
certain
shot
character.
was so cool. Like, how
Yeah.
do we incorporate that in our own style? Which, you know, 90% you can't because it's lighting and budget
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
big old cameras and all that
But
fun
it's like,
stuff.
how can we do
Acting.
something like a smaller version of
Yeah,
that?
how can we kind of put that in there?
But we often talk about like, how did this play into the story? What did the payoff, did the thing that happened at the beginning, was there a substantial enough payoff at the end?
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of payoff. Like I think payoff in films is like a lost art. Like I really, really do. One of my favorite films of all time is the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And it's genius how much that movie like sets up and pays off at the
Yeah.
end. Like
Justice.
I know it's just a goofy Disney movie, but
Good.
it's so well done. The other ones kind of suck, but the very first one, the very first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, set up and payoff. If you want to do a study on a movie that's so good at that one. But yeah. So we do
like-
that a lot. We also like to travel.
We like to travel. We
Love
like
to travel.
games. We love Yosemite.
We love the mountains.
We love the
Absolutely
mountains.
love the mountains.
I think Yosemite's our favorite, but we
Yeah.
love to go camping and we like to go to national parks
Mhm.
and be outdoors as much as possible because obviously we're editing a lot or
Yeah.
we're working a lot. And honestly, just as much as we can.
We
be
love
with
being
friends
around
and
people.
family.
Yeah, I was gonna say we love being around people. Like we don't get to do it enough. And
Yeah.
and we every time we do, like
We love games.
being around you guys the other day was
Yeah.
actually really, really
That
enjoyable.
was fun.
Yeah, game night.
Please.
Yeah,
That
we
was
need
so
that
fun.
again. And dancing.
Dancing.
Yes, and dancing.
Totally.
Oh,
100%.
I'm not a dancer,
me
but
neither.
you can usually get me to dance.
I can
so
get into dance.
so I'll,
A couple of fashions and you'll be there.
Oh yeah.
totally.
All right, Jane.
How do you stay innovative and keep your storytelling fresh and engaging in a fast evolving industry?
Mm.
You know, it's actually almost, I don't know if we would call it innovative. We would definitely be inspired by things. If we
Mhm.
see something really cool, we're going to give them credit. We're also going to maybe put our own spin on it, but we're actually kind of against the trends because the trends move so fast. So I
Yeah.
would say,
If I can, so one thing, like kind of adding to that,
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that we're necessarily against the trends. We just don't tend to jump on board right when they happen.
Hmm.
And I think the reason being is
depends.
because it depends. Because I think the reason is that there are certain trends that are timeless. And our goal is to be as timeless as possible. The last thing I want to do is give someone a video where they look at it and be like, oh shit, that was
Or like I can
was
mute
made in
down
the
exactly.
2020s.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
2009.
Yeah.
Like
I know that era.
like nothing against wedding videos that featured that Bruno Mars song, the look in your eye.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think I'm gonna marry you.
Yeah.
Like you know exactly
that
when
was.
that wedding video
Yeah.
was made. It is dated the moment they use that
Or the
song.
flash mobs.
Or the
flash mobs, yeah.
Or like the light leaks, a film that uses like really
light
heavy
leaks.
light leaks, like like it automatically like dates the film. And so
No offense
there's
to people
nothing
that
wrong
like
with that. Yeah, and there's
No
nothing
offense.
wrong with videos that have the Bruno Mars song. What I'm saying is that like our goal with our films, like we want to try to create something where like they look at it years from now and it still holds up. You know, we don't want them to, we don't want their kids or their kids to look at the video and be like, wow, mom and dad, that is some cringe stuff, because we know exactly when this, you know what I
Oh my
mean?
God.
Yeah.
You do flash.
Cringe.
Yeah, exactly. So like we try not to jump on the trends unless we see that they're lasting a while and they're becoming like more of a staple. You know, once they're a staple and it feels like, because the last thing I'd want to do is create a whole bunch of films that use old trends and then new couples come on to look at the film and they're like, yeah, this is so like
I think it's not
2000.
necessarily that we're not really looking at the trends. I think it's just we're just really looking at what actually makes more of the story impactful. What really makes a difference, or what is just kind of, I don't want to say flashy per se, but like it's just kind of more of a look, a flair.
Yeah.
And what really makes a difference in storytelling. I think a big example that we don't really we haven't jumped on board per se, but have utilized in certain aspects, but nostalgic film. There's a big significance to that, especially
like 8mm. And
Yeah,
stuff.
8mm. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
you're talking about, right?
Well, I mean, nostalgic film for me it depends on the era. I mean, a lot of people didn't really like, I didn't grow up in 8mm film. I grew up in 90s camcorder. That's
Yeah.
nostalgic film for me. So I think it's just more like what actually resonates with you. But I think for me, it's more if it actually came from that era.
Or like if you had a couple, like let's say we had a couple that was like, we love the 90s, then I would jump on the 90s camcorder look and bring it for their wedding because that's them. That's specifically
That's
them.
not what I'm saying.
No, well, that's what I'm just adding to that. I'm just saying like, I wouldn't want to jump on a trend unless that was like specifically spoke to the
it represents who they were. I think I think we're going into it. We're not really looking for things that represent what like our style per se. We're looking at what really represents their story.
Yeah.
And so when I say nostalgic film, like we give the couples the opportunity to give us things that tell more of their story, and some of it's phone footage for a lot of people, and for a lot of people it's older footage, and or photos even sometimes, and it's just because it shows how much of their growth, or maybe the perspective of how the groom looks at his wife, or vice versa, or maybe lost ones that has made it a difference. Shout out to John Burnham in Steelhead Films, but he used footage of my mom from her honeymoon that was in Yosemite and put it in our wedding film. And I will 100% appreciate that forever, because now I have a piece of my mom in my wedding film. So like it just, that stuff I think is wonderful, and we would love to jump on the bandwagon, and we're looking at things like that, I would say, but I don't know if that answers the question.
Well, I'll just kind of add to like one thing that we, depending on what the trend is, like right now, content creators are super big.
Yeah,
like that's
big time.
the big thing. And so like we're gonna start adding that. We're not gonna do it. We're hiring someone to do it alongside us. And that's like a trend, but that has nothing to do with the product we're delivering. That's literally like an add-on that we're offering for that. And that's a trend that we're happy to jump on board with because it doesn't interfere with what we have going on. In fact, it's not something that I'm going to put in the film. It's something that I'm going to give to them.
It enhances their day.
Yeah, it enhances the experience of the day. It's kind of like I've heard people say it's like a photographer that has a photo booth. You know, the photo booth doesn't take away from the photographer at all.
But now they have every single picture of their guests
totally.
And funny, silly moments and things like
so
that.
That's why we're adding a content creator to our packages, or as an add-on.
But I think
because of that reason.
I think for us, the big difference is we're looking at it is we're not really like against content creation because the original purpose of the content creation was the perspective of, say, a guest or somebody else just seeing a different aspect of what the professionals are getting. It was never supposed to, my impression is it was never supposed to be more footage of the same beautiful stuff
Exactly.
that the professionals are getting because they're going to have that.
Yep.
What my perspective is like, you know, Aunt Susie, you know, captures a little bit of, you know, Uncle Jake dancing on the dance floor and getting wild crazy because maybe nobody else got it. And that's another piece of a memory that they'll never forget. My friend caught some from our wedding and I did the swim on top of Colten and the dance floor, and that's the only footage I have of it, and I love it so much. So I don't think it's really fair for people to like hate content creation, but I do want to make a very clear aspect that they're not supposed to be getting the professional
Exactly.
footage.
I could go into that. Oh my Lord. I could get into that. It is, I don't, it's, they're cutting a fine line with videography. They're trying to they're piggybacking off you guys. I mean, it's right.
I think, I mean, the viewpoint, it just depends. There's certain ones that I think are doing a really good job of just getting little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Getting like a little something for the bride to have the next day, but not actually hindering the professional, photographer and videographer.
Plain and simple. I mean, this is my view. This is why it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, I don't love the idea of content creator, but I don't mind the idea of content creator. And the thing that I just have to keep telling myself, it's like they're not creating what we're creating. Like they can film with their phone all day long. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But they're not capturing audio. They're not building a story out of which.
Well, they're capturing audio. It's never going to be.
It's not the same really kind of audio that we're capturing. They're creating a completely different product, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I think it's great. That's why we're adding it. The thing saying that they're coming after videographer, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, but
I think it just depends. I've seen some people where they're literally putting their phone in their camera and they're filming it. And I think that's creative, but all you're getting is phone footage and professional, like phone footage, solid, high quality footage of the same shot. And I think the only way you can actually utilize that is this is what I got here, and then look at what I got here. Like, look at the difference. That's all I can see from that is just the, before and after. And I've seen photographers and videographers do a really cool way of showing like, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and then this is what's actually happening. Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. But if the bride and groom are hiring them, it's supposed to be just. I don't want to put words in people's mouths. I know people are doing it professionally. I have nothing wrong with that. I just think that like to me was. They're getting the little things that we just can't cover everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of videographers that are scared of content creators. I'm seeing it a ton. And I get where they're coming from, but I'm also like, look, just you have to set yourself apart and know what you're delivering. Like you are not delivering, like if you're a videographer and your whole purpose is to deliver content, then your business is in trouble. Like, I'm sorry, like that, if your whole job is trying to deliver content by being a videographer, then I can see the fear. But if you're trying to create a story out of the day, if you're trying to create something unique and trying to create an heirloom, then I think you're fine. Like I mean, that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, the content creators, man, we just went off on this one. So like I just couldn't understand when some of them would say BTS wedding content creators, but then they're just filming everything that you're getting. It's like
Right.
that's
Right.
not that where's the
That's not
BTS?
BTS.
That's not BTS. Like, you understand what BTS means? This isn't it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is crazy. And I remember one person told me too, like, do you want, does the couple want footage of just vendors? And I was like, well, they're getting the beautiful stuff from the people they've like the videographer and photographers. I probably think they would want you to get everything else that they're not getting, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
dude.
but is weird to me. I find it weird to me when I see content creators that are like nothing against going to Sunset, but I
Mm,
find it weird that they're just getting video footage of the shots that video and photo are
yeah.
getting
Mhm.
at the same time. Because I'm like,
I think it's just it should look like it's getting from the perspective of the guest,
Yeah.
like the person that
yeah,
you put all this effort to make this beautiful day to, for yourself, but also for your guests.
hmm
And how are they interpreting that beautiful centerpiece? And, like they're amazed as well. And obviously they're taking footage. My guess would be that it was more supposed to be that aspect of look at how we're seeing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
not look at what your day is looking like because your photographer and videographer are following you around everywhere.
it's kind of like this, and like I could go off on this for hours. So please
Same
feel
here.
free to tell me to stop. But it's like I'm just going to pick an arbitrary number. Let's say let's say you pay your videographer $4,000, $5,000,
hmm
whatever. I'm just, again, arbitrary numbers here to shoot your wedding, and
Yeah.
you're getting a shot with this really good camera. It looks amazing. And you're also paying another person. I don't know how much content creators go for, 1,500 maybe.
Yeah. 15 to
I
2.
don't.
No idea.
How much?
Huh?
That's around 15 to 2.
15 to 2. Okay,
Wow.
so you now
Which is what a lot of
pay.
early on videographers are paying, was
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
starting
That's
out.
Yeah.
insane.
So you now just paid someone. You now just paid someone $2,000, $15 to $2,000 to get the same shot with their phone. And I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Big time.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't find the value. I feel like there's more ways to get value out of that.
Yeah.
And
Big time. We could get into this.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
but again,
God.
I think it's great that people are finding. The only thing that I will say that I don't love about content is just more people around.
Yeah.
It's more paparazzi, and like I already feel like 2 photographers and 2 videographers around a couple is too much,
Mhm.
even
Wow.
though it's my job and like
I will say we've had content creators at weddings and we don't really have them hovering.
No, I know, but I've
Yeah.
seen other videos where they have had, like I've seen a video where they had like 3 videographers, 2 photographers, 2 content creators,
Oh my
all around
God.
the bride and groom, and I was like,
That's a
how
lot.
are you
too
enjoying your
much.
day? And so
Yeah.
that's what I'm
That's
saying.
too
Where
much.
I'm like,
But
that's way too much.
We've been to weddings that we had no idea there was a content creator there. And then later
They did
on,
a
we
really
saw
good
them
job.
post a video of the wedding day that we were on. We're like, hey,
Yeah,
wait a second, I just saw that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Like to me, I think that she did a really good job. She's local. Again, like there's a couple of them that do it, so I don't
Yeah.
like point names or anything like that. But they're doing a really good job because I feel like to me that's what it's supposed
Totally.
to be about. And then they're not really affecting anybody else's workflow, but they're capturing again what the bride and groom are hopefully wanting is just more of their day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can't get enough of your day. I mean, you pay a lot of money to have
Yeah.
one day.
again,
So-
we could talk about
Money to
this
do
for
what?
hours.
Yeah. We
so.
could go into this for hours. The photo and video, yeah, it's a little confusing for us, but to the content creator, hey, more power to you. You're making money for just filming on your phone. Power to you guys. To the couple that books them, power to you too. All right. All right. So I wanted to ask, this is a big one. All right, here we go. What do you believe sets Foxjump Cinematics apart in terms of storytelling from other wedding videographers?
Ooh. Oh.
I I think just down to like the basics, I am not afraid to use too much audio. A lot of videographers will say that if you use too much audio, that it ruins the story. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that that's not true. It depends on how you use the audio, depends on how you cut the audio, depends on how you're interweaving the story together to tell that story. I've had videos that literally from start to finish is audio, just talking the whole time. And it's so fun to watch. And people love it because they're like, dude, the way that you just interweaved everything is so fun and so cool and so like innovative. And I'm like, that's what I would tell.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think audio, again, a lot of it's just our passion, our what we bring to the table as a couple ourselves. We're really silly.
Yeah.
Colten has this thing when we're especially at sunset, and he kind of warns the couple, but it's really funny is he gets really excited about shots. And he makes this kind of kooky sound. He goes, I can't recreate it really well, but you know you're getting good stuff, and it just brings like a really funny smile to the couple because they're just like,
they're like,
excited.
what is that? Where did that even come from?
So I think we bring a lot of joy and a lot of a lot of love and less stress as possible, and just trying to encourage more of the moment. I know there's other videographers that do that, but I think I just think that we for the clients that we have
Truly care about our client.
We really care about them.
Not that other people don't, but I can honestly say you truly care about her.
And yeah, our humor, our good behavior, in our nerdiness. We have a lot of couples that like Disney. We like Disney, so we get along really well.
Yeah.
Oh.
And how much we love the story and how much it's really important for us to share that story. And it's not just a paycheck to us.
Yeah.
So I think hopefully that just comes across. And I think our clients, the ones that hire us, they know that. And that's why we love them so much.
I gotta say, well, your work truly speaks for itself and it shines, and your reputation truly is around in the industry. As you guys know, you guys are the best. So I just wanted to say that too. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're just happy to be a part of a loving community of amazing, tons of amazing vendors that are the best their own. So.
We could not do what we do without every other vendor. Like
exactly.
I always think it's funny when videographers and photographers think that they're hot shit, but it's like, dude, you wouldn't have anything to photograph or anything to video if it wasn't for everyone else there. If it wasn't for the planner, if it wasn't for the florist, if it wasn't for the caterer, if it wasn't for, the person doing the live paintings, if it wasn't for the the calligraphy artist, if it wasn't like, you wouldn't have all that pretty shit to film. If it wasn't for them. The collaboration, exactly.
And the friendship and fun we have when we're working with frienders.
I love it. All right, guys. So we're now going to enter this fun part we like to call this or that.
Oh God. Okay.
But there's a twist to this one. We want you guys to answer the question at the same time.
Okay.
So when we give you guys the options, you guys both have to say your answer.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Oh my God. Okay.
Romantic comedy or action thriller?
Action thriller.
Comedy.
Time travel or space travel?
Time travel.
Crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
Crunchy.
Of what?
Crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
What's smooth?
Peanut butter.
Oh, crunchy
I was
peanut butter.
worded
Smooth.
wrong.
Oh, smooth peanut butter.
Oh no.
Yeah, smooth. No, crunchy peanut. Ew, gross. We gotta get into bliss. That's gross.
We're doing really bad.
But early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Yeah, night owl. Definitely.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Close-ups or wide shots?
Wide shot.
Ooh, close up.
I used to be close up, but now I'm wide shot.
You like wide shot?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like wide shots.
Brunch or dinner?
Brunch. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Explore space or the ocean?
Ooh, space.
Epic vows or funny speeches?
Epic vows.
I don't know. I want them both.
All right. High energy dance scenes or intimate slow dances?
Oh,
High energy dancing, definitely.
Mhm.
Wine
No
or
pants.
cocktail? Oh, sorry. Wine or cocktail?
Cocktail.
Cocktail.
Summer wedding or winter wedding?
Winter wedding.
Espresso or drip coffee?
Drip coffee.
Espresso.
Netflix or HBO Max?
Netflix.
HBO.
Definitely Netflix.
Oh,
HBO sucks,
oh
man.
my God. What's
No, I hope HBO's listening. You suck.
Better productive
They
film.
suck. Their company sucks.
Look at this guy.
Netflix recently
Screw you.
and their own.
Screw you,
that they
HBO
made that's
CEO.
actually
No,
quality.
we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
This one's personal.
All right. Yes. Okay.
Intimate or large wedding?
Intimate.
And last but not least, photography or cinematography?
Ah,
Wait, photography or cinematography? Oh, cinematography.
photography.
That is so cool.
But we love
Oh.
photographers too.
And then the last question we like to ask all of our vendors is if you could choose any superpower to help you while working a wedding, what would it be and how would it help you?
Oh,
Moving stuff with my
time
mind.
control. Time control.
No, I'd move
Time
stuff with
control.
my mind.
I could stop.
I could literally do the whole
Everything.
day by myself. I could be like, okay, camera over here, camera over here, camera. I'd be like, oh, they're
You
moving.
only have two hands. You only have two.
I didn't say I'm moving it with my mind. I'm just using the hands
Which means
to signify what I'm doing. I'm not actually, I'm going to be sitting like
No,
this.
even Magneto can't do
Whatever,
that.
whatever. Mind control, or not mind control,
Mind control.
telekinetic ability.
Telekinesis.
Yeah, telekinesis.
Yeah, definitely.
What's yours?
Wait, what was yours, Jessa?
No, I said time control.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's the biggest factor of a wedding?
That
guys?
is such a
Time.
wedding
What, cop out?
cop out.
All right, teleportation then. Teleportation.
Oh, there you
That
go.
works.
That's a nice one. Yeah, we love it. That is amazing. We love those answers. We've been hearing some crazy ones, so this is amazing.
What are your guys's?
Anything where I could be in multiple places at once.
Nice.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like the teleportation. I would just, if a venue's God knows where and they're getting ready, who knows where, or even if it's a destination wedding and I wanted to go home real quick, I'd
Oh,
go back
that
home,
would be
go back to
clutch.
wherever.
but
Okay, let me ask you this though, Derek. Let's say you're in the middle of doing like
Oh,
setting
God.
up audio with a DJ or whatever, because and like you forgot something in your bag. Would it not make sense to be able to be like
no.
and bring the
Good
thing
try,
with
good
you?
try. Good try.
But what if you forgot it? What if you forgot it at home and you're all the way in a different state?
Exactly.
Yeah, like how
Just
fast
imagine
is
to
this
come
mind
to you.
control?
What if you're DJ, you do the work with the DJ and you need to go grab something, you teleport to the thing,
No,
you grab it,
no.
and you go back.
No.
Dude, this has been amazing. I love this. You guys are rocking it. But before you go, can you let our listeners know where they could find you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our website is foxjumpweddings.com. Our Instagram is at Foxjump Cinematics. And our
TikTok's Foxjump Cinematics, YouTube's Foxjump Cinematics,
Facebook's Foxjump Cinematics.
Vimeo.
Vimeo's Foxjump Cinematics. There's a new YouTuber named Foxtail Cinematics.
Oh,
And so
Challenge
I
accepted.
got offered for like a sponsorship on my YouTube channel. I was like, bro, you have the wrong Fox Cinematics.
Oh, wow.
So there might be some
Competition in the Fox world.
in the Fox world. He's
Oh.
not new. He's fairly new, but anyway, I just noticed him the other day because it came up on my feed. I was like, wait a second,
Mhm.
that's not cool.
Yeah, you're like, get this
I
guy
mean, it's
out of
not
here.
cool. Yeah.
Jumping's cooler than tails.
Yeah, this is crazy. Well, guys, thank you guys again so much for
Of
taking the
course.
time to
Yes,
be on our
thank
show. Yeah,
you.
we've had a
A pleasure.
blast. I know everyone's gonna love this episode. You guys are truly loved in this industry, so they're gonna jump on and
we
listen
love
to it
them
for
too.
sure. So we'll catch you at the next board game gathering.
Game night.
Woo!
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.